I did a get to know me video on the internet, I had just moved my entire life from the warmth of Lagos to the insanity of -40 degrees in Edmonton, Canada. It's been 3 years and I think I'm due for another reintroduction to the internet. Hi, my name is Hamda and I'm a content strategist, a content creator, and a fashion designer. And the story of how I got here is actually pretty funny because like every other Nigerian parent, my father wanted me to study medicine. So the real question is, how did I go from medicine to posting my life on the internet? Let's rewind. As a Nigerian child who was considered smart, I was automatically shooed off to science class. Now, I always knew I was creative. I always loved to draw, loved to paint. And so I knew I wanted to do something creative with my life. I just didn't know what that something was yet. So when it was time for me to go to uni, I spent the whole day arguing with my father to allow me study architecture and not medicine. Let's go back even further because how did I even know I wanted to study architecture? So my twin sister, who is actually not my twin sister, had a boyfriend that year who was studying architecture. And I remember entering his room one day and seeing drawings scattered across the floor, precise, beautiful line drawings, and I was drawn in. To me, those drawings felt like the perfect middle ground between my foundation in science and my love for design. And so I went off to architecture school. I did my 4 years in BSc, graduated top of my class, and went ahead to do a master's program in environmental design. And I got my first job in architecture where I got the chance to design housing estates, private residential buildings, and hostels for students. Somewhere along the line, I fell out of love with architecture. It had become monotonous. When I decided to do architecture, I thought I was going to be designing buildings like Zaha Hadid. Strong, sculptural, curvy, beautiful buildings. But instead, clients kept requesting the same kind of designs. The same windows, the same concrete floors, the same flat sloped roof, the same lack of greenery. I was so bored out of my mind. I couldn't take it anymore. My creative brain could not take it anymore. And so when COVID happened, I quit my job in architecture. At the point when we're all stuck indoors during lockdown and doom scrolling on the internet, I stumbled upon an ad for a digital marketing course that was being sponsored by Meta to grow the digital marketing talent across Nigeria. And so I applied. And got in, and that was my introduction into digital marketing. Now, this course was all encompassing. I got to learn every aspect of the field and realize the things I loved and the things I absolutely hated. For instance, coding. I'm not a coder. I realized I enjoyed things that were focused on visuals, on storytelling, and community building. And so I fell in love with content marketing. Content marketing clicked for me. It felt like everything from my childhood coming true. For instance, my love for drawing quickly became graphic design. My love for reading became research. My love for writing became strategy. It was like for the first time, all my natural strengths existed in one field. COVID was also when I started creating content. I had just left a toxic marriage, something that still feels like a fever dream, almost like it never happened. But I really needed an outlet. And so I started exploring the city I was born in. OGs know when I started creating content, I was known as the Lagos tourist. My only goal was to feel like myself again. Since then, I followed my creative spirit everywhere. After completing my digital marketing course, I interned at a global media agency and was quickly moved into a full-time role as a content strategist. Then I transitioned into working within the tech space in Nigeria, helping brands tell their stories and reach new audiences. I really enjoyed my job, and I still do. Between all of that, I have planned a group road trip across West Africa. I have modeled for fun. I have taught content marketing courses for free. I have consistently shared my life through video and writing. And recently, I just launched my fashion brand. One thing people don't really talk about is that sometimes when you have too many passions, you start to feel like you're extra. Extra in a negative way. And I definitely felt that. All my life, people had either told me I was doing too much or I was too much. I had too much energy, I had too many interests, I was too hyper, and I was too loud. And for a while there, I did try to fit into the box that the world expected me to exist in. But the truth is, every single time that I tried to shrink myself to avoid being too much, I felt less like myself. So now I no longer see it as me being too much. And even if I'm too much, and so what? Why are you too little? That's what we have to be asking people, okay? Jokes aside though, I no longer see it as me being too much. I see it as me expressing all the different versions of myself. So what do I do now? Right now, I lead communications at a not-for-profit where we offer free mental health support to young people, and I feel so passionate about mental health, so that brings me so much joy. At night or on weekends, you catch me designing clothes for people who are a little extra. My goal in life is simple. I want to live fully, to follow my creativity, to follow all my passions, and to find the balance between all of my frivolities. I want to keep sharing stories that remind people that it's okay to be too much. As long as you feel like you, that's all that matters. Because we all deserve to exist as who we truly are on the inside. My name is still Hamda, and I'm a creative doing all the things she likes. I hope you give yourself the permission to do all the things you like too. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I would see you in the next one. Bye!